When we last left England at the end of Volume 1, the dream of unity had just begun to take form. Aethelstan, the grandson of Alfred the Great, had stitched together the patchwork of Anglo-Saxon kingdoms into something resembling a single realm. For the first time, King of the English was a real project, but like any new project, it was fragile. Aethelstan died without children in 939. The crown passed to his brothers and then their sons. The wars resumed and the dream flickered. But it lasted a bit longer with the ascent of Edgar, a king who won England not through conquest or charisma, but through quiet competence. He ruled from 959 to 975, and by all accounts, nothing happened. Well, at least no major invasions, uprisings, or civil wars. Chroniclers dubbed him Edgar the Peaceable, which sounds like rather faint praise until you consider what came before and what would come after. Edgar continued Aethelstan's dream to hold the idea of England together. He supported monastic reform, streamlined administration, and issued laws that strengthened royal authority. He traveled the country himself, reinforcing his royal presence and control over the regions. And even more importantly, whether by direct intimidation, diplomacy, or simple good fortune, the Vikings' raids paused throughout Edgar's reign. For 16 years, the longships stayed away. On that monastic reform I just mentioned offhand, I won't go deep into the Benedictine reform here because it's a bit of a complicated side plot, but the implementation of the strict rule of Saint Benedict in monasteries under Edgar contributed to a kind of cultural consolidation, even secularly. Reformed monasteries became centers of learning and administration. Following the footsteps of Alfred years before, additional religious and legal texts were copied, sometimes translated into Old English rather than Latin, and law codes were more consistently standardized across the realm. Edgar's legacy, of course, was not without its weaknesses. For one, he failed to establish a clear line of succession despite knowing the danger this posed. He had 2 sons by 2 different women, Edward, his elder son, by a noblewoman, and Ethelred, his younger, by his queen, Elfrith. Rather than settle the matter publicly or prepare the court for a smooth transition, Edgar left the issue unresolved, leaving behind what would become a big problem. Was this pure indecision? Not really. It reflected a broader issue, Edgar's reliance on personal rule rather than institutional strength. His authority depended on his presence, his charisma, his trips through the shires, and his reputation for fairness. But institutions don't survive on reputation. Edgar's presence, like all of ours, was fragile. Edgar died unexpectedly in 975, still in his early 30s. The sources are vague. Some suggest illness. A few chroniclers writing later would hint at divine punishment for his personal sins, a quiet footnote for this quiet ruler. Edgar was known to be impulsive in his private life. One story tells of him abducting a nun and keeping her as a mistress. Another accuses him of seducing the daughter of a nobleman, and there's even one more tale that we'll save for a later chapter. These tales could have been embellished, but they imply a king not quite as serene as his nickname suggests. Still, his death shocked the court, and with no clear heir, the factions erupted. Monastic reformers and much of the clergy supported Edward, while powerful nobles rallied behind Ethelred. The court was divided, and the idea of peaceful succession, still new, still fragile, broke quickly under pressure. As we'll see in the coming installments, from this moment on, succession in England was never just about birthright. It was about factions, alliances, and political calculation, and even foreign interference. Edgar's reign then becomes more than a pause between storms. It's the last moment in this early period when the crown still carried an aura of order with it. After him, every king would be tested not simply by foreign invaders, but by his own countrymen. And so we begin Volume 2 here, with a death in peacetime that unraveled the stability of a kingdom still learning how to be whole.